We came out here today to do a comprehensive weatherization, which that entails is upstairs we will seal off all the ducting system, and down below we will seal all the exterior doors and all the plumbing penetrations in the home.
We test the ducting system with a duct blaster. We test the whole house with a blower door fan, and then typically we'll blow insulation. When we show up at the house, typically the very first thing is one employee will go up and start sealing the ducting system.
The more air that's inside the home, inside the conditioned space of the home instead of the attic, will decrease their energy usage.
The whole point is to reduce your utility bill. By blowing warm or cold air into your attic, you're defeating the whole purpose. You want your house to have all the air that you can possibly give it.
Well, what we did in the attic was seal all the ducting system from collar to the buckets with a product called Mastic. When we seal the buckets and the collars, it helps keep the air that needs to be inside the ducts in the ducts and not inside the attic, so it keeps the system tight.
That way all the air that's in that duct is going into the house. It's not escaping into the attic, or it's not pulling dirty air from the attic into the duct system, which in turn gets blown into the house. You want it to be clean, because that's your air that you're breathing. So when we're weather stripping a door, first thing we do is we shut the door and we lock it, deadbolt it, lock it, or any type of lock that a homeowner might use, we use it too, because that's the way it's going to be used most of the time. We look around the perimeter of the door between the jamb and the door. If we see any daylight, we know that there's some leaking going on. The house can actually suck some air in, or it could push air out.
If there is daylight showing, we will remove the old weather strip and put a new one in.
The ultimate goal, no daylight around the door and the jamb of the door. Plumbing penetrations, that's like underneath the sink or behind the toilet. The pipes that go from the sinks or toilets, they go into a wall behind the sink. When it goes in there, it usually goes up or down. And if it goes down, it's going into the crawl space. So that's cold or warm air, depending on the season. If it goes up in an attic, it's typically going to be hot air. And you don't want that air to be able to travel down that pipe and inside the house, underneath the sink. And so we actually caulk around there. If need be, like on this house, the backing of the cabinet underneath the sink was missing, so we actually patched that all up and sealed it. After we're confident that the duct system itself and around the unit is all sealed up, and the return airs, which is considered part of the ducting system, we'll actually perform the duct blast system on it.
We generally do that before we install the insulation in case there is a leak inside the ducting system. That way we can go up there and seal it off. We seal off all the registers in the home, and we depressurize the ducting system, and we hook a duct blast machine up to the return air, and we pull the air through the ducting system.
By doing that, that tells us if there is any air being sucked into the ducts as we're pulling air out. And if it is, the manometer is going to detect it, and it's going to be able to tell us exactly how much loss there is on that duct. We also do a whole house blower door test, and that is the big fan with the big red canvas that goes in the front door. We also use a manometer on that. Basically what we're doing is depressurizing the house. What that again is going to tell us, is there any air being sucked in somewhere from the house? Is it being sucked in from the floor? Is it being sucked in from a door? Or are we not getting any air? Is the house just extremely too tight?
The lower the number on the reading would indicate a tighter home. The higher the number would indicate a leakier home. If it's really high, we'll try to figure out where the leaks are coming from. And if it's real tight, we'll have to consult with the customer.
There could be some hazards with your house being too tight, especially on a gas house. You could actually, if you had a gas leak on your stove or your water heater or your furnace, you could have some carbon monoxide in here. Typically when we run across a tight house, we'll recommend carbon monoxide detectors. We'll also recommend mechanical fresh air ventilation system. And that's actually a system that attaches to your HVAC system. It just brings in fresh air. After all the testing's done, everything's sealed up tight. If the project requires, we're going to blow insulation in the attic. But there's a little more involved than just going up there and blowing insulation. If they have recessed lights, we need to cover those because they could overheat and turn off and on, or they could potentially catch on fire. We put measuring sticks up in the attic for the insulation, so we know and the customer knows and the city knows exactly how much we blew up there. We put an attic card up there. That's an information card that shows when we did it, who did it, and how much we did. And then we actually blow the insulation at that point.
We blew insulation in the home to get it up to an R38. It's actually a white blow-in fiberglass. R38 is the insulation standard in Austin. It's 13 inches.
The benefit is huge. We've seen it too many times. People saving money, more comfort, they feel better. Resale value is a lot more.
The savings vary per house. Some savings 10% all the way to 50%, just depending on the situation of the home.
It's either do this or build a $40 billion power plant. And it is working. This has been around, I guess, for about 15 years, this program. So apparently they're saving money.